So one of the plans for this is garden number one. This is what I call garden number one. And as you can see, we have a whole lot of snow. But I've got to cut 4 trees there. It looks like a spruce, 2 tamarack, and a pine. That tamarack goes way up there. But they're not very big around trees at all. And over there, I got some storm damage on that fence over there. But I kind of like to cut that birch. And last year, snow is deep in spots, folks. This is where I just threw everything temporarily, but it became a collect-all. So I've got garden buckets, I've got fences, I've got boards from garden beds that I took apart. I've got some more fence there. It's just pieces of fence. And this here, I cut this tree down last year. That one there. Maybe it wasn't last year. Yeah, it was last year. Either last year or the year before. But see, I've got all kinds of stuff. It's just got to be cleaned out. I've got garden buckets everywhere where the wind blew them. So I've got to cut these trees because I've got garden beds here and they don't get enough sunlight. So I get sunlight. I don't get any morning sun at all. Midday I get some sun and very little afternoon sun. There's a birch right there that I want to cut. The top is broke off. 2 small birch over there, and that pine tree has got to go. So I've got to do some cleanup in my garden. See, I took some more raised beds apart and just put them in piles. I've got to clean that up. And that poor wagon over there has been sitting there since last fall. I got 3 compost bins up there. So I want to put more trellises in here. But I've got to do a lot of cleanup. I've got to cut those trees. There's some birch over there that's got to be cut. My hops I redid last year. And then part of my, in this shot here, I've got a whole row of grapes. And trying not to fall, folks. This trellis here has been there for a very long time. It's still working good, but I did lose a birch tree that's got to be cut. It did do some damage to my grape trellis. I've got to repair that. But what I need to do is cut those trees. Not going to be today because the wind was blowing. I did cut some trees. I'm starting my firewood. And I cut some trees yesterday. I went out this morning and bucked them up. And I cut a bunch more trees. And as you can see way over there, I don't know if I can zoom up or not. Yeah, it's really not showing. But over there I've got a bunch of birch trees that I can cut. So right here in this garden area, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trees that I've got to cut. Plus that one there that's broke off. And I've got some more that are leaning. And even those scraggly ones up there, those can be cut for firewood. They're just going to break off if we get another heavy snow or some ice. They just are. So it gives me firewood. So that's the plan for this week. We will see how well this goes. And what am I going to do with the pine? The pine, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with the pine. It probably would make good kindling. I could cut them down, delimit, bucket up, and split it into kindling. Probably is what I will do with the pine. And those tamarack, well, that one way over is really, really tall. And that one, I've got to cut the three in front first. I've got to cut the spruce. I got to cut the spruce, the tamarack, and the pine. Make that tamarack fall that way, because if it goes the other way, it's either going to go into my brush fence over there, my house. So I got to make sure I'm doing it right. And there's all kinds of birch in there with some tops broken off. A lot of damage with that first snowstorm that we got. Yeah, good firewood. Just kind of gonna be messy to clean it up, that's all.